Good evening to all of you. Today, I feel it is a great privilege and honor to be amidst this August gathering and extend a warm and hearty welcome to the Chief Guest Engineer V.B. Singh Saab and speakers Dr. Sharad Chandra and Dr. T. Srinivas Garu. And all of you to this webinar on the day of National Science Day. I am very happy to be associated with this memorable event. The National Science Day is observed every year on February 28th in India to commemorate with the discovery of the Raman effect. Sir Chandrasekhar Venkat Raman, as Indian physicist, announced the discovery of the Raman effect on February 28, 1928. In 1986, the National Council for Science and Technology Communication asked the government to designate February 28th as National Science Day. Then the government of India accepted and declared February 28th as National Science Day. The National Science Day was celebrated for the first time on February 28th, 1987. The Indian physicist was awarded the 1930 Nobel Prize in Physics for his work on the scattering of light and for discovery of the effect named after his name, the Nobel Prize organization has given. The Raman effect is a phenomena in spectroscopy, study of absorption and emission of light and other radiation by the matter, and the dependence of these processes on the wavelength of the radiation. Discovered by C.V. Raman while working in the laboratory of the Indian Association for Cultivation of Science, Calcutta. And today's theme on the National Science Day is Integrated Approach in Science and Technology for Sustainable Future. The National Science Day celebrations usually include public speech, talk shows, and radio, television, and so on. So today, Telangana State Center has arranged a webinar on the day of National Science Day with the eminent speakers and experts, and the technical talk or integrated approach in science and technology for sustainable future by Engineer K. Sharad Chandra, CEO, Butterfly Edufields, Hyderabad, and Scientific and Engineering Approaches for Sustainable Solutions by Dr. Tangellepalli Srinivas, Associate Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, National Institute of Technology, Jalandhar. Since I know you're all eagerly awaiting to hear the talk from these eminent speakers, I limit myself here and hope that you will really enjoy that speech. On behalf of the Telangana State Center of the Institution of Business India and on my own behalf, I once again extend a hearty welcome to the Chief Guest Engineer V.B. Singh, FIE Vice President of Institution of Business India, and the respected speakers, Engineer K. Sharad Chandra and Dr. Tangellepalli Srinivas, Associate Professor, and all of you to this important event. Before I request Engineer K. Sharad Chandra Garu to start his talk, I request our Honorary Secretary of Telangana State Center, Dr. G. Venkat Subbai Garu, to kindly introduce the speaker, Engineer K. Sharad Chandra Garu. Thank you one and all. Thank you very much. And over to Dr. G. Venkat Subbai.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. It is my privilege to introduce Engineer K. Sharad Chandra Garu. Sharad Chandra Garu loves traveling, playing with his 4 years old daughter Anvika, and participating in triathlons. And his favorite poem is IF by Rudyard Kipling. Sharad is a chemical engineer from IIT Bombay and a postgraduate in management from IIM Ahmedabad. He is a first-generation entrepreneur and had co-founded Butterfly Edufields straight after his MBA. Butterfly Fields is a social enterprise with the mission to bridge the learning divide. It offers innovative, affordable, and creative toys for children. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Professor Ashpal, former UGC chairperson, had immensely appreciated the efforts of Butterfly Fields, which is the winner of the Global Innovation Case Study Award given by All India Management Association for Innovation in Inclusive Education. So Sharat Chandra was elected for the Chapter Service Award 2020 by IIT Bombay, was awarded Engineer of the Year Award 2017 by Institution of Engineers, Telangana Center, and he is also the recipient of Vocational Excellence Award by Rotary Club, Bhagyanagar, Hyderabad in 2013. So thank you, sir. And now I request Sharat Chandra Garu to address the gathering.
Thank you so much, sir. It's a privilege to be part of this August gathering. And every Science Day is also one of the days when we not only celebrate it, but it is also a time for reflection and introspection, because the journey that we embarked almost 13 years back was on how to take STEM learning to the kids across India, and not just India, but since last couple of years, taking it to children across the globe. This particular theme that for National Science Day, which has been selected, is on, what is the integration between science and technology, and how is it, how can we make it sustainable while we do that. I would take an example of the recent past of the COVID transmission. So it started with the science of virus. I think everyone started googling around what is a virus and how is it different from a bacteria, and then it went into science of transmission, of how is it getting transmitted. And but if we had left it to the science, then it would have remained a problem. But the moment technologists and engineers, people get in, then comes the application part, because then comes about thinking of how do we link technology so that we can stop the spread. Once the science of transmission is understood, then we say, so do we design protective gear which can, stop the aerosols, the air getting transmitted from the infected person. So the technology applications went into the intubation hoods, to the face gears, to masks and different types of masks. Then there were mobile accessories for people at home. So with these mobile apps, which is also a form of technology, we went into looking at how we could monitor these people. There was video monitoring technologies for patients who are affected. There were robots in wards of infected patients. So again, a technology solution trying to solve a problem which came from the understanding of the science behind. And then, of course, we all were aware of the maps and how the distribution of infections across places, and which were the areas which had to be quarantined. So it all went into a huge tree of applications. But the basic fundamentals were from the basics of science. And once the understanding was there, I think technology for sure helps us get the scale, not just in communication, but also in terms of solving the problem. Science, to an extent, tries to, or when the problem comes in, it stays like a unit. A lab comes into the mind, but the moment technology takes shape, it comes into the real world. Of course, sustainability is becoming a larger goal, as we are seeing. But here I'll wait for, I'll take a detour. I'll say integrated approach of science and technology is one part, but the world has moved into STEAM, what they call it as science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And of course, there are various number of industrial research reports which say average median salaries of people who are in STEAM domains is almost over $84,000 per annum. Whereas people who are not in these STEAM domains, the average is at $37,000. So the gap is pretty huge. So we are talking of the future is about people who understand the intersections of these things, which is of STEAM. Increasingly, the many examples of even if 10 years back, if we would visualize a wedding, you would have setups of videographers and photographers around. So for the time being, let me call them to represent the domain of arts, because they're coming there, they're doing their stuff. These days we are talking of videography through drones. We are talking of applications which are well beyond just how a good video is shot or made, but it goes into the domain of what all technologies enable getting different types of views. So you're talking of drones with different um, heights that they can go to, the type of zooms that they can get in. So the person who will succeed in that has to have a nice blend, not just in arts, but he'll have to understand the technology behind that. If in case there is a service required when the show is on, he might also have to wear the hat of an engineer, try to figure out the right problem. And of course, the math of distances and what works is obviously there. So what is happening? So a person with just an iPhone 12, 13 with a creative mind is getting enabled into professional, very serious documentation works, not just of weddings, but I'm saying of a lot of field research where actual data is being measured. And that is why it is so, the integration of all these 5 streams and how we enable the next generation to be comfortable with with it and not just look at them as silos. I think that is going to be an important thing for India to emerge. There are a lot of things being said about how India has to become a $5 trillion economy, how India has to be Bharat has to be Atmanirbhar. But for all of this, I think the fundamental roots lie in doing stuff with children, are future budding citizens. And happy to share that in fact in 2018 we had launched the 3I STEM forum at the engineering institution of engineers in Khairtabad, and we had teachers, principals from schools. So we have had the privilege of partnering with institution of engineers in the past to take this. In fact, for last 7-8 years, we were very happy under the guidance of Professor Surinder Reddy. We were doing these quiz programs on on the occasion of the National Engineers Day, where students from engineering colleges would come in, and it would be very exciting to see this participation from people. And I also obviously cherish the Engineer of the Award, which is very respected and coveted award, which was given conferred by the institution, Hyderabad chapter. So in terms of the future, I think one of the things that we have as a plan to set up about 1,000 STEM centers across the country. This is to reach out to children across all age groups, starting from as young as 3-4 years of age, which goes up to right up to 21 years of age. This also includes, so I understand Professor Surinder ji was mentioning, there are about 75 plus chapters of the Institution of Engineers across the country. And in fact, if each chapter's office itself, we set up a STEM center, that automatically takes, and there are very enterprising people who have this bent of mind to take technology, STEM, STEAM to children. We would be happy to explore the partnership with all the engineers, all the innovative people in this group. So, in fact, on this particular day, we are celebrating the National Science Day across for the children across across India. The contests which are going on where, so we believe theory versus practice. So we are talking of theory gets boring, but the moment we bring it with theory and practical, when they do it, it becomes far more enterprising. So the best example is, how do we learn cycling? So no matter how many books we read on cycling, but the best is when we actually get onto a bicycle and ride. So there are lots of concepts which stay as jargons, and it becomes far more interesting. So there are some prizes. These are electronics, robotics, sensor toys that we are giving it out to children. So right from sensor boards to touch sensors. Of course, this is a award-winning toy which is called Tinkering Lab at Home. The Purdue University selected one of these kits as the STEM kit of the year 2021. So in the gifting guide, they had recommended. So this is all, contests, and because schools just started, are starting from next week. They are in the process of opening up. We are encouraging kids to do stuff at home. So learn how submarines work. And we believe that understanding is thorough when we can explain it to a 6-year-old child. As simple as that, how are parachutes, how are animations made. So right from holograms, how are holograms there? So different science and technology concepts for children. The videos are being shown. Of course, there are a number of kits that are available for children to understand the concept of rainwater harvesting. So this was created so that children also understand importance of sustainability. They also understand how much water gets wasted, how do they calculate through the area, and then how many centimeters of rain. So this is some effort, and I was personally privileged to get a chance to interact with Dr. APJ Kalam when Dr. APJ Kalam said, this is something which should not just be a privilege for the private school students, but you should make an effort to reach out to children across the country and those who are less privileged. So we do put our efforts, and I'm glad Professor Surinder Garu is also there. He is our mentor when it comes to the efforts for STEM centers. Thank you once again for giving me this opportunity. It's a privilege to be associated and do whatever bit that we can do. So on behalf of Butterfly Fields entire team, I wish to thank you all. Have a nice evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Engineer K. Sharachandra Garu, for a beautiful presentation and brief and very sweet talk and on stuff for kids. That is especially, I think, 8+ years of the kids, and about the animations and holograms and the different science and technology concepts, and also what is the difference between theory versus the theory and practice, and really is I think very useful. I'm thankful to you. I've come first time, though I was meeting so many times Surendra Reddy sir, but never discussed what he was doing about 3I info. It's really good, and you are really trying to bridge the gap between theory and theory practice, and similarly also bridging the learning divide. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your nice speech and talk on the day of this National Science Day. Now, may I request our Professor Gupta sir, so kindly introduce the next our speaker, Dr. Tangelapalli Srinivas Garu, Associate Professor, before he starts his talk. Over to Gupta.
Yeah, very good afternoon to all of you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Very good afternoon. I'm happy to be associated with this particular webinar on National Science Day. On this occasion, the Associate Professor, Dr. Tangelapalli Srinivas, will be delivering the lecture on scientific and engineering approaches for sustainable solutions. This is high time for me to introduce Professor Tangelapalli Srinivas. He is an associate professor in Department of Mechanical Engineering at Dr. B.R. Ambedkar National Institute of Technology, Jalandhar, Punjab. Previously worked as professor at Vellore Institute of Technology. Presently it is VIT in the area of CO2 research and green technologies, and also he contributed a lot in the area of advanced energy. He received his doctorate degree from JNTU, Hyderabad. In that way, he is associated with our Telangana state, and he did his PhD from Hyderabad in 2008. He was a postdoctoral fellow from University of Ontario Institute of Technology, Canada, in the years 2010 and 2013. He received almost 2 postdoctoral degrees. He has completed various research projects funded by CSIR, TST, SERP, Imprint, UGC, and so on. And he already won copyright to his credit and registered for 5 patents. He has authored 4 textbooks in the advanced technologies or advanced energy systems, that is thermal polygeneration. Polygeneration, so far we might be seeing regularly the combined cycle power generation, the combination of 2 thermodynamic cycles. He tried to invent polygeneration and flexible colle cycle systems. That is one of the advanced power generation system. And he has having another textbook, thermal cycles of heat recovery power plants and desalination and cooling integration systems. And he has published almost 12 book chapters, 125 national and international journal publications, and 85 conference proceedings. His current areas of research are solar thermal energy and polygeneration. He already supervised 5 PhD students and 40 master's theses and 45 undergraduate projects. He also has an industrial experience of 3 years in the machine tool company in Hyderabad. He served as editorial board of the journals in recent innovations in chemical engineering and applied solar thermal energy. Dr. Srinivas has received the Best Teacher Award for teaching excellence in NIT Jalandhar in the year 2021. He has visited many countries for making his presentations and technological interactions with the different other universities. So he will be delivering the lecture on scientific and engineering approaches for sustainable solutions. Over to Dr. Srinivas. Please continue your lecture.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Gupta, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
First, let me thank the Institution of Engineers India, Telangana State Center, organizing team, Sri Brahma Reddy Garu, Dr. Gupta Garu, Dr. Venkatesh Subbay Garu, and all. And thanks to all for giving this opportunity to interact with all of you and to share my works related to the science and technology development. First, let me share the screen. Okay, as per the time permits, I will restrict to my presentation to the few examples only. My presentation is focused on scientific and engineering approaches for sustainable solutions. Science is actually a language of engineers. We are all aware that without science, it is difficult to develop the technologies. So it supports the dreams, that's the imagination. So the development of this technology with the support of the science is good. Otherwise, we can say without support of science, it's incomplete or it's not perfect. So what today's my role is, mainly I'm sharing my journey of the technology development with the support of the science. So during this journey, I have few examples, but mainly related to the sustainability, how to practice how to practice the sustainability while developing the technology with the incorporation of scientific approaches and methods. So initially, I'm giving a light on role of science on technology development and sustainable technologies. And with few examples, since renewable energy is practicing these sustainable methods, the solar energy is a main base for all the renewable energies resources. So few examples like solar concentrating collector I'm sharing. This is one of the example to practice the sustainable methods for collection of the maximum amount of solar energy so that we can develop the solar collection, storage, and utilization. These three are the main functions of the energy utilization, the complete collection, storage, and utilization. And also the integrated approach, how to use the integrated approach of these systems, that's energy systems, to get the total benefit. Like we have the smartphone earlier we used to for talking only. Now the smartphone has many roles like internet, WhatsApp, and camera and videos, etc. So the integrated approach also one of the good method to benefit the energy approach benefit, and also especially for the concentration of hybridization of these energy systems, both conventional side as well as the renewable side. We all know the science provides the base for the technology development in the form of the knowledge. It provides the knowledge for the ideas and the technology possibilities. And also we can develop the tools to solve the technology, especially we can prepare the techniques for the solutions and the evaluation, and lab techniques and analytical approaches, and skills can be practiced with the help of these basics like science and mathematics, physics, maths, and chemistry. And it's more useful for the assessment of the technology. And we can also develop the efficient strategies of applied research, development, and refinement of the new technologies. And coming to the sustainable development and the solutions, I will give one example. During this lockdown, especially at my home, one day, fine morning, I saw the hills from my home at Jalandhar. That time, I don't know that is the Himalayas, because of the clean environment. We are able to see the Himalayas from Jalandhar, even though it is far from the hills, because every day we can't see the hills from this plain area of this Punjab state. But during the lockdown time, we all tasted the clean environment. So the use of this environment, that means using these technologies, especially the clean energy technologies, we can enjoy this type of clean environment. Neighbors told us 50 years back, that's more than 50 years back, the environment is like that. But due to these practices, unsustainable practices, the environment is emissions, and it is we are polluting. So we have to think how to make and how to utilize this type of technologies to make the sustainable environment. And especially in the development of this technology, design plays a major role, because most of the decisions and policy making we can see at the time of design. Coming to the manufacturing, mostly we will see the development of the technology, especially product making or the process making. As per the design, we will do the making or the manufacturing of the product. That's why the product design and manufacturing, there is a different roles here. The first and the primary function is the design, and followed by the making, that's manufacturing. Out of this, the design governs the price, quality, and the cycle time. That's why what I'm showing here is how to incorporate these basic rules of the science in the technology development. And also especially the main focus is given on the design, like this example, 1818 to 1970, how the features has been incorporated, the time to time. The features has been incorporated in a product, and now we are seeing a well-defined with all the multiple features of the product. In this product making, there are many steps are there. These steps can be grouped into non-engineering and engineering activities. The non-engineering is mainly they are focusing on the market survey, economics, or etc. Whereas engineering, it has the functions of this product design. The product design includes the modeling, simulation, and optimization, and cost estimation, etc. Whereas the non-engineering, starting from the definition of the need of the product and finding the probability of the success, whether it is a low probability means we are dropping that idea. If there is a high probability, then only we are approaching for the further process like market analysis and planning of the product. And then one more check we can see here, the feasibility, practically whether it is feasible or not. If it is a feasible, then we can give the instructions, the design instructions to the manufacturing. That's product making. During these steps, in case if we are feeling there is a refinement of the product design and there is a chance of redesigning, then the feedback can be incorporated to the R&D department, or maybe the customers may say the idea may not be feasible, our idea may be changed completely. That's why it may be iterated. With the new idea, I mean, in case it is a new idea, we can iterate again the cycle. So if the engineer is following this all these steps, that's non-engineering and engineering steps, it's easy to develop the refined perfect product with the help of the scientific lines, guidelines. So according to the science, it can be grouped, especially in the product manufacturing and the design. Two categories we can group into two. One is the pre-design activities and next is the post-design. In the pre-design means mostly it is focused on without minding the dimensions. For example, to design an air conditioning, and generally we will say the capacity, how much capacity we need. Let us say it is 2 tons of air conditioning is required. For 2 tons of air conditioning, we can design the process conditions like the pressure and how much flow rate is required, how much refrigerant we have to charge in the machine pattern, without minding the size of the dimensions. So that pre-design works will give the best conditions. That means optimize conditions based on this parametric optimizations or the design optimization. We can prepare the specifications. According to the given specifications, a company, industry can do the making of the product and then undergoes the testing for the marketing launching. But after launching into the market also, there is some activities are there. Those are called as post-design activities. In fact, the post-design activities gives the more useful information compared to the pre-design. Of course, the pre-design is mandatory for the platform of the design. So if you see any product, it is very difficult to operate at design conditions due to variables like conditions like seasonal conditions or atmospheric temperature or the fuel change in case of the plant direction. That's why majority of the cases the plant or a product is operating at the off-design conditions. That's why customer will focus mostly on the off-design conditions. In this post-design, in addition to these properties like post-pre-design, what we use in case of thermal system, there is a properties like thermodynamic property. Here, size and shape also is required. In addition to thermodynamic properties for the thermal system, thermophysical properties also has been incorporated. So with the association of size and shape, the post-design work of this modeling, simulation, and analysis has been conducted. That will give the off-design conditions so that customer will focus more on the off-design conditions. So he may expect some catalog or the characteristics of the product, which gives the more useful information for the operation of the product. So in this pre-design and post-design, science plays a major role, which is providing the useful data for the making, which is available for the pre-design activities, as well as the customer point of view. We can prepare the specifications as well as the catalog or the books from the post-design works. So to demonstrate these activities like scientific activities and the planning, especially for the design, pre-design as well as the post-design works and modeling, I'm giving few examples here. The first one is tracking of the collector. Means how to track the solar collector from one point to other point. Here our target is we are not supposed to use any battery or motor electricity. That is the constraints here. According to our constraints, we are not going to use any electricity. So that's why we are calling this product name as Motorless, or passive type of solar tracking system that can be used to drive the collector, especially the focused collector, maybe line focused collector or the point focused collectors. It has been designed to make the compact, that means lightweight product. It looks like a perpetual motion mission. As per thermodynamics, there is no any perpetual motion mission. This is imagination only. But to describe the nature of this laws of thermodynamics, this has been introduced. What I am saying, this motorless tracking looks like a perpetual motion mission. It's not using any electricity, means there is no any energy conversion. It is using energy, but it is not in the visual form. It looks like a magic. That means one form of energy is converted into another form of energy. Instead of electricity, we may use the storage energy. Even in the earlier days, you can see in place of petrol and the diesel, if you are pouring the water, if you are saying that we can run the vehicle, somebody may laugh, but that's possible. You know what has the hydrogen? Hydrogen can be used to drive the fuel cell that may be used in the automobiles. So similar to what fuel costs, car and automobile, it's possible to drive the collector using this water. That's why it may not be water, maybe some other potential energy or the kinetic energy also we can use, like action of the simple pendulum, action of this water like dripping action, or bimetallic steps, and gravitational energy like dead weight here. And here we use the scientific principles. The main science involved here is the solar geometry. So we need to understand the solar geometry, sun-earth relations, so that it's easy to design the solar concentrating collectors. That's dynamically it is changing from sunrise to sunset, and yearly also it is changing. And place to place also this geometry is changing. First of all, we have to clearly understand the science, background science, so that it's easy to design a collector. It's with a zero incidence angle. That means always, like sunflower, it's possible to tilt the face of the collector towards the sun, so that the normal to the surface and sunbeam both will be the same line. We will expect the zero incidence angle. That is the target. That means the sunbeam as well as the normal to the collector, if both are matching, then we can say this is a perfect tracking system. That means zero incidence angle, theta is equal to 0. So during this design, it may be the single axis tracking or the double axis tracking. We have to keep in mind of this solar geometry. At the same time, we have to put into constraints whether what are the product we are designing. Is it compatible to all the places like north, south, or other countries? Because the day length is changing. Some places the day length at the poles, the day length is 24 hours and 6 months night and 6 months daytime, whereas this equator it is 12 hours almost. So here the day length is changing. Whatever the product we are designing, it has to work in all the places and all the seasons. That's why, for example, if it is designed at certain angle, 30 degrees in Jalandhar, okay, we have to select the maximum length. Let's say summer. We selected the maximum summer because the day length in the summer is long. That's why, according to the long day, it is designed. And at the initial step, we are successfully tracked the collector, like we are seeing the small solar PV panel. Without using in this electricity, we are able to track the collector from sunrise to sunset. In the second step, second trial, linear concentrating collector like parabolic collector, compound parabolic collector or cylindrical parabolic collector, we try to track from one point to another point. It is all the elements are mechanical elements here. You can see the systems like tracking system having the mechanical components like suspensions or etc. While designing, we can choose some options like there are some drive. The shaft we can drive about the focus point or about the center of gravity or about a point outside the collector. Out of these 3 points, every option has certain merits and demerits. That's why there is a chance to optimize the system. And based on this comparative study, we can select the best one. For example, about the focus, it's fine because receiver tube no need to drive the fluid we can supply at the inlet as well as the outlet without moving the receiver. That is one of the advantage. That means the solar receiver is a stationary element. Without disturbing the receiver, we can transfer the fluid. Whereas in the second and third options, the receiver is not stationary, it is moving because it is away from the point of the tracking, but there is advantage of center of gravity. There is no need of counterbalance while tracking because we will add the counterbalance for the equilibrium movement of collector from one point to another point. But in the last one point outside the collector, there is a more rigidity we can expect from this collector because the shaft is complete. Whereas this first and second methods, the shaft is not complete, it's the segments. That means during the design, we can check these options and we can see the optimizations like geometrical optimization or parametric optimization. This is the shaped optimization. If you see some geometric factor like focus and the cavity width, if you increasing this geometric factor, the shape of the collector is increasing. That means according to the objectives, that means to gain the maximum collection efficiency, we can select the higher geometry factor because it's a collector is opening and center of gravity is also moving towards the ground. Even in automobile engineering also, if the height of the vehicle is decreasing, that means more stability we can expect. Here also, we can expect more stability from the solar collector. And then the science has been applied for the dynamic study, the modeling of this collector from sunrise to sunset, that means morning to noon time, again noon to evening time. It gives the physical conditions like how much weight is required to track the collector from, because the potential energy has been used to drive and that has been simulated from sunrise to noon, again noon to the sunset point. I'll show the imagination and planning of this collector in terms of these tools like scientific tools, maybe software like CAD and modeling or etc. After getting some idea, this science gives how the product can be manufactured and what are basic elements of this product, how it is working. Then we can switch into the making according to the instructions provided by this design. That means both are integrated, that is design process. The first one is the design process and second is the manufacturing. But we have to take care about the design. Once there is a mistake in the design, it is very difficult to, because there is a lot of loss is there in the making of this wrong design. That's why each and every step in the design we have to take care before making into the product. There are many highlights we can show from this product. One is what are the tracking element here that is independent of the weight of the collector. That means so we are giving some mechanical elements like suspension, springs, or etc. And since the counterbalance is taking care about the mass of the collector, whatever the tracking mechanism, it is independent of the solar collector. That means the collector maybe has the 100 kg weight or it maybe have the 1000 kg of weight. Without bothering this mass of the collector, we can design this mechanism. That is one of the main advantage of this system. This is the invention. But during this process, implementation, that's testing of this process, we didn't include the damping. That means only simply the dry springs we used without minding the damping. But from the feedback obtained from the field, we added the damping, the dampers, and the suspensions so that now it's driving without much vibrations, because sometimes it's a windy time, the vibrations and oscillations will come that are completely arrested by these solutions. It's damping. And then what are the ideas I'm explaining here? It may not be the plane areas or it may not be linears like cylindrical concentrating collector. This also can be applied for a point focused concentrating collectors. That's point focused solar concentrating collectors has can be used for very high temperature generation. This is a point focused collector. The weight of the collector is it's nearly 1 ton weight, and you can also see the suspensions here. We use the hydraulic suspensions here from the automobile industry, and its backside is a counterbalance, and it is running without any much vibrations. And this scientific work like modeling and simulation both in pre-design and post-design will result the specifications like how much flow rate we have to maintain, how to control what the lowest weight of this mechanism, everything we can optimize, and these are the some of the results regarding to the elements and quality of the mechanical elements like stiffness and sizes, dimensions of the wheels, sprockets, or etc. And how much accuracy we can expect here. Yeah, less than 1 degree error we got it. That also can be expected, maybe refined further iterations of this product. And similarly, the second one, the integration of the systems like energy systems for the multiple benefits, like what I told earlier, the smartphone. Similarly, the features of the phone like video and photo and internet, etc., WhatsApp, etc., has been integrated. Energy also, like here, if you see the systems, if you are combining the energies, no need to purchase the different like there is a one RO plant at home, and there is lighting and air conditioning and cooling system. There are cooking, many applications are there. If you think about a complete total system like polygeneration, its polygeneration is derived from the cogeneration and trigeneration. That means multiple benefits. There is one energy source. From one energy source, how to get the multiple benefits, same like smartphones. That has been practiced with the desalination plant. This desalination plant has been created with the artificial water cycle, because we know the rain will come through the basic principle of this rain is a water cycle. So the same water cycle can be created artificially, so that we can get the condensation. That condensation is can be used for the creation of the soft water. And this integration, this slide shows the integration of two elements like electricity generation and cooling effect from single source of energy, from solar energy. And it has the flexibility. For example, once we are integrating the different elements, we will get more flexibility in the operation. That means mode 1, mode 2, mode 3, etc. This only power and only cooling, or combined power and cooling. These technologies can be developed in that mode, so that we can get the benefit of multi-objective functions. And also we can demonstrate our knowledge like innovative material and innovative designs like heat exchangers design, and so that the cost can be minimized and overall benefit, the energy conversion benefit also, we can expect the maximum from this type of experimentations and the testing after complete scientific design in terms of the pre-design as well as the post-design of the systems. This is also the similar hybrid system. It gives the drinking water, electricity. This name of this plant is the trigeneration, means triple benefits from one source of energy. The electricity, the drinking water, and the cooling effect. The cold air can be used for centralized air conditioning system. The small size, this can be practiced at the small size at the domestic level as well as the industrial level. And this work currently we are doing with the association of these industries, one from Hyderabad, Urja Energy Engineering, and then one from local green builders, because whatever these type of technology, hybrid technologies can be used for the green building systems. So this is various steps involved in the pre-design as well as the post-design systems. And these are the off-design conditions, results coming from the off-design conditions. These are the spare parts of the systems like polygeneration. And due to lack of time, I'm not playing the videos. I have the various steps in the product development and also the process development. Now coming to the next step, the system has been, the cogeneration, trigeneration has been upgraded to the polygeneration. This system currently is under progress. This gives the hot water and the drinking water, electricity, and cooling. The four benefits we are getting from this single source of energy. This is under process now. It has multiple stages. For small, means low cost, we can design at the single stage systems like heat pump systems. In case the industry needs, the commercial unit needs the more yield, then we can go for multiple stage like 2 stage, 3 stage, etc. This is also another design of this polygeneration. But the scientific approach like simulation will imagination, and the simulation will give definitely what type of system is required for the customer. For example, a customer may focus more on the output than energy efficiency. Another customer may expect more efficiency, not minding on the output. So according to the customer expectations, we can give the product design, and that conditions can be designed with the scientific approach. And all these things are available now in the internet, and it is published in articles. So those who are interested, you may Google it, you will get more information. Thanks to the government, especially the Indian government, for supporting my ideas, the dreaming and showing the ideas into reality. And thanks to all again for giving this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you, Srinivas Garu. Dr. Srinivas Garu, excellent presentation, and also you explained very detailedly about role of science and technology, development, sustainable technologies, and also solar concentrating collectors without using any electricity, and also driving motorless efforts. So, solar and integrating the cameras and the latest smartphones and all those things. And that is really a good lecture on the part of Dr. Srinivas Garu. And also, you also described and displayed very nicely how the product design and modeling and other manufacturing has influenced the price, quality, and the cycle time. Also, you have very nicely described in algorithm manner decision of the design part of the product development and modeling, simulation, and analysis of the pre and post design. It's really worth noting points of this lecture. I hope everybody has enjoyed. I thank you, sir, once again, and also to show the relation between earth and sun, and which is, I think, in the days to come, will be, as you said, it will be not only sustainable solution, it will become a sustainable future developmental, I think, will be the research for R&D. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again for.
Thank you, sir.
It's my privilege to introduce today's chief guest, Engineer V.B. Singh sir, FIE Vice President, the Institution of Engineers India. And Sri V.B. Singh ji is graduated from University of Roorkee, now that is IIT. He obtained Bachelor of Laws, LLB, and postgrad diploma in Public Administration from Lucknow University. He joined Uttar Pradesh State Electricity Board, now it is known as UP Power Corporation Limited, through campus placement, and served in different capacity for the 38 years. Worked on various assignments covering planning and design of thermal power plants, projects, around 400 kV power substations of manufacturing, PCC, LT lines supports, quality assurance, and etc. Actively associated with the Institution of Engineers India since 1992, when he was the first elected to UP State Center Committee. Served IEI UP State Center as Honorary Secretary for 2 terms in 96 and 98 and 98 2000, and as a chairman 2012 and 2014, as a council member from 2012 and 14 and 2016 till date. Organized All India Convocation of the Institution of Engineers India in 1996 for the first time at the UP State Center. He is also instrumental in organizing first ever international conference on energy management at UP State Center in the year 2000 as Honorary Secretary. Actively involved in successfully organizing 80th Indian Engineering Congress by UP State Center in the year 2003. He is also instrumental in organizing National Convention of Mechanical Engineers in the year 2014 for the first time by the UP State Center as organizing chairman. He served the Institution of Engineers as chairman, National Languages Promotion Committee from 2016 to 2018 and chairman, Civil Engineering Division Board 2018 to 2021 and presently is a vice president and chairman of Asset Management Committee, also serving on other committees like Finance, Service Rules and Headquarter Management, and is also a member of Board of Governor, Engineering Staff College of India, Gachibowli, and he also served as a member of a number of committees of IEI, such as Bylaws Committee, Committee of Federation, International Bubeton, Strategic Plan Implementation Committee, Engineering Information Services Committee, Land and Building Committee, Regional Coordination Committee, All India Students Committee as a Board of Governors. As a Board of Governors, he was the member is on the National Design and Research Forum that is famously known as NDRF in Bangalore. And he also played an important role in cadre restructuring of the Institution of Engineers India headquarters, reducing thereby huge expenditure on establishment. He played an important role in revising service rules of Institution of Engineers staff to the benefit of the Institution of Engineers India. He is a life fellow of IEI, IOV, and IWRS, and life member of ICA, ICI, IIPA, and APGC. And he served as a member, Senate, Roorkee University from 1980 to 2000. And he is also a member, Finance and Building Committee, Birbal Sahani Institute of Palau Sciences, Lucknow, under the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, from the year 2014 to 17. Presently is a member, UP Board of Technical Education, member, Building Committee, Baba Saheb Bhimrao Ambedkar Central University, Lucknow, member, General Engineering Division Council, Bureau of Indian Standards, and member, National Executive Committee, Indian Water Resources Society, 2013 to till date. Member, Executive Committee, Institution of Valuers, Lucknow chapter. Also is a patron, APGCE Lucknow chapter, and is conferred with Abhyanta Ratna Award by UP Rajya Vidyut Parishad Abhyanta Sangha in recognition to his long and outstanding distinguished services to the engineering fraternity. And I thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to read this wonderful biodata of our Vice President, Sri V.B. Singh Saab. So I request V.B. Singh Saab kindly to address today's gathering. Thank you, sir. I welcome you, sir. Sir, your voice is not there, sir. Kindly. I think you have to open it, sir. No, you can unmute. Yeah, you unmute. Yeah, now it is.
Reddy sir, for your generous, very generous introduction, which I really don't need. Thank you so much. It is your kindness and your towards me that you have given so much introduction. So now, friends, Engineer Brahma Reddy sir, Chairman of Telangana State Center, Dr. Satyanarayan Raju, my friend and council member, Dr. Rameshwar Rao, Director SP, and Professor Ramana Naik, Dr. Jaswant Singh, Honorary Secretary of UP State Center, who has also joined, and keynote speakers of this program, Mr. Dr. K. Sarath Chandra, Chief Executive Officer, Butterfly Edfields, Hyderabad, and Professor Tengapalli Srinivas, he is professor at National NIT, Jalandhar. Professor Kumar Swami Gupta, Professor Dr. G. Venkat Sibbia, and my friend from Gorakhpur, Kamlesh Nath Vishwakarma, and many others. Friends, very good evening to all of you. First of all, I extend my hearty thanks to my friend Brahma Reddy Saab for inviting me to join this event. In fact, I have gained much from the keynote speakers. Earlier, first speaker spoke very well about the contribution of engineering in facing the challenge of COVID, and then the other speaker also spoke very well about how to make optimal use of solar system, solar power, PV cells, etc., to get maximum power, maximum advantage out of that, which is the need of hour. So thank you, sir. Thanks to all of you. Now, friends, this year's topic is very apt: integrated approach in science and technology for sustainable future. In fact, development is there, but we have to ensure that it is sustainable. That is, it is not at the cost of destroying our environment. Once Gandhiji has very correctly said that earth, land, and water, as natural resources of vital importance, we have not inherited from our forefathers, but we have borrowed from our children. So we have to return them as it is. Rather, if we cannot even make them good, then in the same condition as we got from forefathers, so we have to give to our children. So friends, this science and technology has helped a lot in improving our quality of lifestyle. But as I said, development must be sustainable, not short-lived. So at the same time, it should not have adverse effect on environment. Now the boundaries between various disciplines of science and technology have gone away. Now it is the time of interdisciplinary actions. As you know, mechanical engineer helping in the helping cardiologists. They are helping to overcome heart ailments. And as you know, we have contributed much to face COVID challenge to many instruments and equipments. So interdisciplinary integrated move of science technology must nowadays. Now, friends, today's event, the National Science Day. Perhaps I don't know whether you know how it was started and what is its background. Actually, our country, which we call Bharat, that is the land of eminence and abode of wisdom and intelligentsia from the time immemorial, has not only discovered science and technology, but also added valor. Therefore, in due concern, Indian National Science Day is celebrated with profound joy on 28th of February every year to mark the legendary Indian physicist Sir C.V. Raman for discovery of Raman effect on 28th February 1928, and was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1930. On this day, in 1928, he discovered a phenomena of scattering of photons, which was later known as Raman effect after his name. After 2 years in 1930, he got Nobel Prize for this remarkable discovery, and this was the first Nobel Prize for India in the field of science. To mark the discovery of which famous phenomena, National Science Day is celebrated in India on the day each year. In 1986, National Council for Science and Technology Communication asked the Government of India to designate 28th February as National Science Day, which the then Government of India accepted and declared the day as National Science Day in 1986. The first National Science Day was celebrated on February 28, 1987. Raman effect, as you know, it is a phenomena in spectroscopy discovered by the eminent physicist while working in the laboratory of the Indian Association for Cultivation of Science, Kolkata. Raman effect change in the wavelength of light that occurs when a light beam is deflected by molecules. When a beam of light traverses a dust-free, transparent sample of a chemical compound, a small fraction of light emerges in directions other than that of the incident, that is incoming beam. Most of the scattered light is of unchanged wavelength. A small part, however, wavelengths different from that of the incident light, its presence is a result of the Raman effect. As you know, what is the purpose of this day? The basic objective of the observation of National Science Day is to spread the message of importance of science and its application among the people. National Science Day is celebrated as one of the main science festivals in India every year with the following purpose: to widely spread a message about the significance of science applications in the daily life of the people, to display all the activities, efforts, and achievements in the field of science for welfare of human beings, to discuss all the issues and implement new technologies for the development of the science, to give an opportunity to the scientific model-minded citizens in the country, to encourage the science, to encourage the people as well as popularize the science and technology. So this is all about the science, National Science Day. And friends, as I have already said, that we must we must have integrated approach to develop new technologies so that the life of common people is made easier, it makes comfortable, and all are happy. So with all these words, I again thank my friend Engineer Brahma Reddy sir for inviting me and gaining knowledge and by thought-provoking talks of today's keynote speakers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chief Guest Engineer VB Singh Saab, for wonderful motivating speech on the day of National Science Day. Now, before I request our Dr. G. Venkat Subbaya, Honorary Secretary, for going to vote of thanks. I thank VB Singh Saab for instant accepting of when I called him immediately, said, without thinking, I said, yes, I'm ready to come and join as a chief guest and grace the occasion. And really, thank you, sir. I thank both the speakers also, our engineer Sarat Chandra Garu and Dr. Srinivas Tangelepalli Garu. So now, sir, I small request. And tomorrow also we are having one program on J. Purushottam Endowment Lecture. I request all our committee members and the local to join our senior and chairman of R&D of the Institution of India, Dr. I.S.N. Raju Garu. He'll be presenting a talk on the eve of the endowment lecture of the legendary engineer J. Purushottam, and our past president Sri G.L. Rao Garu will be gracing the occasion of chief guest. I request all the members who are present today also as a personal invitation to join tomorrow at the same time. And I now request Dr. G. Venkat Subbaya, the Honorary Secretary of Telangana State Center, kindly to propose a vote of thanks. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, Chairman, sir. So, respected Chief Guest, Engineer VB Singh, FIE, Vice President, the Institution of Engineers India. Today's webinar speakers, Engineer K. Sarat Chandra, CEO, Butterfly Edufields, Hyderabad, Dr. P. Srinivas, Associate Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, National Institute of Technology, Jalandhar, Engineer V. Brahma Reddy, FIE Chairman, IEI, TSC, Professor Dr. A.V.S.S. Kumaraswamy Gupta, FIE, Committee Member, IEA, TSC, and convener of this event, past chairman, council members, past honorary secretaries, members of Telangana State Central Committee, distinguished guests, representatives of media, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all of you. And it is a privilege for me to propose vote of thanks on this occasion. On behalf of the Telangana State Center of IEI and on my own behalf, I convey our sincere and profound thanks to the Engineer V.B. Singh, FIE Vice President, the Institution of Engineers India, for addressing the gathering as chief guest. Sir, thank you very much, sir. Engineer V.B. Singh garu. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Engineer K. Sarath Chandra, CEO, Butterfly EduFields, Hyderabad, for presenting a lecture on integrated approach in science and technology for sustainable future. So thank you very much, sir, Sarath Chandra garu. I am also very grateful to Dr. Tangellapalli Srinivas, Associate Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, NIT Jalandhar, for presenting a lecture on scientific and engineering approaches for sustainable solutions. Thank you, sir, Srinivas garu. I wish to express my gratitude to past presidents of IEI, past chairman of IEA-TSC, past honorary secretaries of IEA-TSC, council members, committee members, corporate members, and others who have made it convenient and attended this webinar. I also acknowledge our gratitude to the representatives.
Thank you and good night to all the participants, sir, including chief guest and the speakers of the day, convener, and thank our honorary secretary because we have thanked everybody. So I must thank my honorary secretary, Dr.
Thank you,
sir.
thank you,
Thank you and
sir.
good
Thank
night.
you for all of you, sir.
Good night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Yes, sir.